In the early morning of November 18th, 2019, Louise Shepman, after an exhausting shift and alone on the road near the mysterious Superior Lake, spotted a strange light and the carcass of a servant. But what truly terrified her was the appearance of an alien creature with enormous eyes and an imposing presence. With a single word, sleep, everything vanished, leaving Louise confused and terrified. Prepare to discover what really happened that dark night in Louise Shepman's dark. Encounter a UFO case. Working at a nursing home located in a rural area of Minnesota, United States, Louise has always been known for her dedication and professionalism. The facility where she worked was about a 45-minute drive from her residence, situated near the majestic Superior Lake, one of the largest and most beautiful bodies of water in the United States, offering a serene landscape, yet shrouded in local mysteries and legends. Louise had recently taken on a new position at the nursing home, which required even more commitment and availability from her. On weekends, she often worked in pairs, covering exhausting night shifts that lasted up to 16 hours. These long hours were not only physically draining, but also emotionally challenging, dealing daily with the care and needs of the elderly residents. However, on the specific date of November 18th, Louise faced an unusual situation that led her to have a terrifying experience. Unlike her usual shifts, that day she had to cover both the morning and night shifts. This combination of prolonged shifts was challenging in itself, but what followed would surpass any expectation. Around the end of her night shift, an unexpected incident occurred. A resident had fallen inside the nursing home, requiring immediate attention. Louise, always attentive and competent, promptly carried out the emergency procedures. It was necessary to transport the resident to a nearby emergency room, which delayed her departure from work. The delay, although justified by the need to care for a patient, meant Louise had less time to rest before ending her shift. With her shift ending around 2 in the morning on Monday, Louise was exhausted, both physically and mentally. She knew she needed to get home as quickly as possible, but extreme fatigue made the prospect of driving dangerous. She then tried to call a friend who lived nearby, hoping to spend the night in someone's company, but all her contact attempts went unanswered. Determined to return home alone despite her exhaustion, Louise chose to drive along the road bordering Superior Lake, a route she knew well. However, during the drive, she realized she had forgotten her glasses at work. Without the clear vision her glasses provided, her forward visibility was compromised, increasing the risk of accidents. Despite this, the need to get home outweighed her safety concerns, and Louise decided not to turn back to get her glasses. To stay awake and focused on driving, she played an audiobook through the car's sound system. The road, known for its natural beauty, was also surrounded by dense forests that, at night, created a mysterious and sometimes eerie atmosphere. After passing a small village, something unusual caught her attention. While making a right turn, a strange and intense light appeared before her eyes, similar to a spotlight cutting through the dense forest vegetation. Initially, Louise thought it was a reflection or some natural lighting, but the intensity and persistence of the light intrigued her. She decided to continue driving, hoping it was just a passing anomaly. However, as she made another turn, something more disturbing appeared on the road. She spotted the carcass of a servant, a pet of the nursing home she had seen before in that location. The servant was lying on the shoulder, seemingly unconscious, but what truly caught her attention was the figure beside the animal. It was a tall and slender silhouette, dressed in tight-fitting black clothes. The figure knelt beside the fallen servant, performing some kind of gesture or attempt to help. Initially, without her glasses, Louise dismissed the strangeness of the scene, perhaps attributing it to an emergency situation not visible in detail. However, The spotlight-like light still drew her attention, as if focused on that specific point of the road. Confused by the presence of that vehicle in the middle of the forest, Louise decided to slow down the car to better understand the situation. She turned off the audiobook in hopes of hearing something more clearly, but the vehicle's touchscreen system began to malfunction, not responding to commands properly. With growing frustration and the need to assess the situation, she decided to pull over to the shoulder. Summoning her courage, Louise decided to ask the figure on the road if he was okay and if he needed help. However, when she tried to interact, she realized something was deeply wrong. The creature that had previously seemed like a man now stood up, revealing clearly non-human features. Its head and eyes were disproportionately large, reminiscent of classic representations of alien beings. But unlike the small and slender figures we usually imagine, this one was tall, imposing, and emanated a truly terrifying presence. Paralyzed by fear, Louise couldn't react immediately. The creature began to approach her, and instead of making audible sounds, a voice resonated directly in her mind. It was telepathic communication, something that transcended verbal language. The voice, somehow familiar, pronounced only one word: sleep. At that moment, everything changed abruptly. The creature, the fallen servant, and the spotlight-like light vanished as if they had never existed. Louise found herself alone inside her car, parked on the shoulder. She looked at the dashboard and saw it was 3:50 a.m. However, she didn't remember having driven for that long. A sense of confusion and disorientation overcame her. Desperate to understand what had happened, Louise tried to call her sister, hoping to hear a comforting voice that would reassure her. However, the call was not answered. With no alternatives, she decided to call the nursing home where she worked. When answered, she received surprising information. She should have been sleeping. At the wheel, that's right. Someone had noticed that Louise was driving erratically and was concerned about her well-being. Louise found herself forced to talk to someone to stay awake until she got home. The trip, which should have lasted only a few more hours, extended until 4:30 a.m. when she finally reached her residence. Throughout the journey, she tried to rationalize what had happened, convincing herself that it had been just a vivid dream or an hallucination caused by extreme fatigue. Despite this explanation, something inside her knew that what she had experienced was beyond common human understanding. The sense of realism and the intensity of fear suggested that something inexplicable had truly happened that early morning. However, the fear of ridicule and disbelief prevented her from sharing the experience with more people. Louise decided to keep the incident a secret, fearing the skeptical reactions of friends, family, and co-workers. Over time, the memory of the event became a distant yet persistent recollection. Gradually, Louise began to reveal what she had lived through to a few trusted people. Initially, she encountered only disbelief and disinterest, but eventually she gained some listeners who showed genuine interest in her story. This case, which I found on an American profile, exemplifies the numerous reports of UFO encounters that permeate popular culture and challenge our understanding of reality. Louise Shepman's story is just one among many that suggest the possibility of interactions with entities beyond our current scientific understanding. Louise's narrative presents common elements found in UFO reports: isolation in a rural area, proximity to mysterious bodies of water, conditions of extreme fatigue, and especially the encounter with a non-human entity. These factors contribute to creating an atmosphere conducive to inexplicable experiences. The creature's telepathic communication, conveying the word sleep, can be interpreted in various ways. Some might see it as an attempt to warn or influence human behavior, while others might consider it a form of mind control or manipulation. The sudden appearance and disappearance of the strange elements reinforce the enigmatic nature of the encounter. Furthermore, the fact that Louise had forgotten her glasses and had to drive without them adds a layer of vulnerability to her experience. The limitation of vision may have contributed to the initial confusion and the difficulty in discerning reality from imagination, especially in a state of exhaustion. Reports like Louise's challenge our perception of reality and raise questions about what we truly know about the universe. The possibility of extraterrestrial life or unknown entities interacting with us is a recurring theme in various cultures and eras, reflecting the eternal human curiosity and fascination with the unknown. It is important to consider, however, that extreme experiences of fatigue, stress, and isolation can lead to altered states of consciousness, where the human mind may interpret stimuli in a distorted manner. Science still does not have definitive answers about the nature of these encounters, leaving room for ongoing debates and investigations. Louise Shepman's story is an intriguing example of a possible UFO encounter, filled with elements that fuel both fear and curiosity. Whether as a manifestation of extraterrestrial phenomena or as a profound psychological experience, it invites us to reflect on the limits of our understanding and the vast possibilities the universe may hold. For those interested in UFO cases and unresolved mysteries, Louise's story is a fascinating addition to this vast field of study. Sharing and analyzing reports like this is essential for expanding our understanding and perhaps uncovering the secrets that still lie hidden in the shadows of the night. I hope you enjoyed this account. For enthusiasts of this type of content, don't forget to follow the profile here on the platform, where there are other equally intriguing and well-detailed UFO cases.